We're back for episode 2, and episode 2 is for you entrepreneurial people and helping you craft your story. We know that one of the things that we don't often appreciate is when our friends join different businesses and they just start slamming us with their product. Every time they're posting on their Facebook wall, they're telling us about a sale they're having, or they're inboxing you, or they're trying to get you to join, or whatever. That is just yucky. It's just spammy and yucky, and you'll notice that a lot of people that act like that don't really have the most success. They might be business jumpers, going from thing to thing, thinking it's the thing, and it's really them. So one of the things that we learn at some of our higher leadership seminars and things like that, business training that we've been going to for years, is how to craft your story. Stories sell. And if you've noticed, when you're watching, we don't have a TV anymore, but I was just at my mom's. There's a TV in every room. The TVs outnumber the people there like 3-1. But there's a lot of storytelling going on, right? And it sells. And HGTV, the entire HGTV tends to just be stories that are selling things. And in this case, we watched a lot of Flip or Flop, but you'll notice that when you watch that, you might want to redo your counters, right? So how to craft your story, because stories sell, is really, really important. So I want to go through a couple of things on crafting your story. First, your story is to create me toos. It's to relate to your audience, to your target market. And we've talked a lot about target markets and stuff like that. And your story is going to come, most likely, it's going to be your story. Oftentimes, you'll hear people tell other people's stories, which is also really great, like in people in the weight loss industry and the health industry and stuff like that. So testimonials and stories are great, but we're going to talk about your story, and your story used to demonstrate a solution for somebody that has a need, right? We're always trying to fill needs. And so first of all, we're going to talk about, there's 3 different things here. I'm looking down at my notes to make sure I don't miss anything. We've got a problem, right? So we're going to state the challenge. If you're taking notes, there's 3 things we're going to deal with here. State the challenge, and then state the solution, and then a call to action. All right? So when you have a problem, when you're mentioning the problem, when you're stating the problem, there's 3 things that we'll talk about there. So if you're taking notes, first one is use emotionally provocative wording. Emotionally provocative wording will make them turn their head. I'll never forget my business partner, Nike. We were at a leadership conference in North Carolina several years ago, and he stood up to tell his story. And he started out stating that prior to getting started in his business, he felt castrated by debt. The whole room turned and looked. Our mentor used that word castrated for like many different seminars after that. I mean, it really got the attention of his audience, right? And then he was able to go on and say, and then I was able to pay off $250,000 worth of debt. He got rid of a lot of his health issues and stuff like that. So, but grabbing the audience's attention is really big, right? So using emotionally provocative wording. Number 2, you make it uncomfortable to hear the problem. A lot of people walk through life very, very uncomfortable, but they just deal with it. It just becomes part of who they are. You might have friends that have been in debt, or don't like their job, or don't like their boss, whatever. They're just always complaining about it. So you want to put them in an uncomfortable place, right? And number 3 is really make it easy to visualize, like Nike telling his story about feeling castrated by debt, not being able to take his wife out, who he calls his girlfriend because they date all the time, right? So number 1, when we're stating the challenge, different ways that we could do that. You could say, state the challenge. Well, prior to doing whatever I'm doing right now, my credit was really poor, right? I had no friends. I'd never been on vacation. I'd never started a successful business. Whatever the problem is that you're starting to, you're stating the challenge, right? And then you have your solutions, right? Well, I have more confidence now. I have a supportive team. I've been trained by leaders in the industry. I've been on many vacations. Gosh, I've been on a vacation every single month for the last 3 months. It's kind of crazy. I've paid off this amount of debt. I've generated thousands of dollars in a number of days. Now, using days rather than years really has a powerful punch. When I was featured on the cover of a magazine for my story, I stated that in my 2nd year in the business, I had generated, or I had earned over $77,000 working less than 8 hours a week. So, you know, it's powerful. You want to use powerful verbiage. And then your call to action. So I recommend that you get started with this, or follow the person that's mentoring you. You know, you're telling the other person to follow that person, or take your first vacation if you haven't been on vacation in a long time. Okay, so I got our little notes here. I know I'm a little out of it because I've been driving all day, but I wanted to make sure that I brought this message to you. So first of all, so here's one that I just kind of put up together here, so to give you an idea of how using your story to get someone to understand that they can get out of their situation can be powerful. So prior to getting started in my business, I was emotionally and financially bankrupt, stay-at-home mom, hiding behind a mask of actually being in charge of my own life and having it all together. We were broke. We had lost everything, including our family home, when the market crashed. And I'd been a real estate agent. We had to move an hour outside of my market. Having built our whole financial life around having 2 incomes, we found ourselves barely able to make ends meet. My number one goal was, as you guys know, to be a full-time wife and full-time mother. And the thought of someone else raising my kids absolutely mentally crippled me. So the thought of going out and getting a job would make me just feel like I was gonna vomit. So I immediately got started with my business. I plugged into every bit of training that I could. By my second year in the business, I had created more than $77,000 worth of income, working less than 8 hours a week, and my life has completely changed. So I don't know if what we're doing would work for you, but if this is something that sounds good to you, then I recommend going ahead and checking out wherever you're sending them, you know, whether it's a live presentation, some people do hotel parties or home parties, or in our case, we're internet marketers, so we send them to presentations, on-demand presentations typically. Sometimes we do live presentations. So you can see how powerful the story is. If I'm talking to another mother who is my target market, right? Moms with ambitions, right? Then maybe that would give them a glimmer of hope. So all you need to do is sit down and craft your story. Figure out exactly who you are. And we know who we're talking to. We're talking to you moms. That the thought of leaving your kids and going to work 9 to 5 and missing their whole life makes you absolutely feel like you're gonna vomit, then there's things out there that you can do. So I hope that helps, and I hope you have an awesome weekend. It's Friday night here. I'm gonna go finish mopping my kitchen floor and put away all the clothes. Thank goodness we had a washer and dryer, so I'm not home with dirty clothes. But that's it. So have an awesome Friday, an awesome Saturday, and we will chat with you later. Bye-bye.